the JIT has already been ported to Spark 64, AMD 64, and S390. We also have improved the speed. In most tasks, benchmarks, we are 20 or 50% faster. And of course, we have a lot of bug fixes. For Mono 2.0 to be released at the end of next year or at the beginning of a year later, we plan to implement the .NET 2.0 APIs and provide code access security, so sandboxing in application domains. We are writing support for using a generational precise garbage collector. We have more JIT ports planned, and of course more optimizations in the JIT. We are basing the optimization on SSA and well, okay. So what we see happening in the development community in the next few years, we think that people, this already happened, but with IronPython, for example, but the same thing will happen for languages such as Tcl, Perl. People will write runtimes and compilers that target Mono and the CLI. So we want to support them, even if needed, adding additional features to the virtual machine to support them better. And a few of the features that we are thinking about, in the same way that a virtual machine provides dynamic optimization at the native code level, we want to allow language runtimes and compilers to produce dynamic optimizations at the IL code level. So they are still architecturally independent, and the JIT takes care of all the details. So this feature should bring some interesting speed ups for some languages. And one of the problems we are trying to solve is also to provide an interface that allows different dynamic languages to talk to each other. Because, for example, IronPython doesn't map Python classes to CLR classes. IronPython methods aren't methods in the VM. So we need a way for different languages to call each other, even if they have multiple underlying implementations of their code convention and so on. So we need an interface. We want to reduce the memory footprint of Mono, so you can use it in embedded systems. And we want to enhance the GC and the experience when using Mono applications on the desktop. And enable Mono to be used also in heavy-duty server applications. We see a lot of need for sandboxing, so also statistic-based resource accounting, and well, some of the features that we think us developers and CPU designers need to take into account is, well, Hans mentioned it already, access to thread local data. For example, another feature that could be needed is support for decrypts in the pages. Okay, virtualized performance counter, and better support for 64-bit systems, and so on. Okay, I think I need to close.
We have time for maybe one or two questions. Move over to the break.
There were some comments earlier about how languages like Python were easy to embed in other systems. If one implements Python, say, in Mono, how do you think that's going to affect the ability to embed it? Are you going to lose something there? Is it gonna
the major reason people are embedding Python is because Python is slow, and so, for example, a lot of people are writing extensions for using Python to do matrix calculations and so on. So when we have a fast runtime, and we can call directly C# code, for example, we don't need to embed our libraries anymore. Or we can use the tools in the CLR, DLL import, to use shared libraries, which is a faster, more easier way to use shared libraries than writing a Python extension. It's easy to write Python extensions or Perl extensions, but it's easier to use DLL import. So basically, I think there won't be much of a need to use a compiled Perl or Python extensions.
I have a question for you or for anybody that actually knows the answer. In the CLR, with my understanding a couple of years ago that there's a bytecode for the sort of operational meaning of the programs, and then there could be several different metadata standards for different type systems attached to the same the same operations and executable bytecode. Is true, so that you might write a JIT compiler that doesn't understand the metadata at all and just translates the bytecode operationally, and it would work but you might have different languages with different type systems and different metadata. Did this ever happen?
Actually, I don't think in the current implementation that's not true. There is a tight mapping between the IL and the metadata.
And it's basically the C# VB metadata.
Yeah. Well, basically, we map to the same metadata, and for example, C# can call VB.NET methods without any layer in between.
But it was my imagination that there were at least some talk about having different kinds of metadata.
Oh, you have to ask Microsoft, because never heard of anything.
Yeah, but there's a common type system, so there's a single type system.
So yeah, both VIL code and the metadata is common. So
I guess so.
I think Ben had a question. Ben, did you have a question?